I got put in cuffs. I had family visiting from the Philippines, and on the last day that they were here, they saw me in fucking cuffs. That taught me something very different about the importance of life. Believing in yourself when things get hard is the hardest thing that you're going to have to do and have to learn how to do every step of the way. At every level that you achieve in your life, there's going to be a new test. You're going to go through a new trial. And a lot of people reject this. They think that if I get to this level in my life, then it's going to be easy. The truth is, over time, the trials don't get easier. They probably get harder. You just get stronger. And so there's a lot of people that message me on Instagram, on Facebook, and they say, Phil, how have you gone through everything that you've gone through in life? How do you continue to persevere through the hard times? How is it that you're able to move forward even when nothing is going your way? When you try and you try, you fail and you fail, and you take hit after hit after hit after hit, how do you keep going when things are so hard? The truth is, this life, from my belief system, is designed to test you. This life is designed to see what you're capable of, what you're made of. Because there's nothing else. It's not money, it's not career, it's not building a business, it's not anything. Not even having a family, because being able to have a family requires you to be the best version of you, to provide. But you need to find you. You need to find who the fuck you're meant to be. And a lot of people do not want to face that challenge. It's so easy to be a fucking robot. It's so easy to say, life is happening to me versus this adversity that I'm experiencing is happening for me. When things get hard for me, there's been a lot of times in my life where things have gotten hard. Shit, like even the past couple months have been hard for me. I've not only had a newborn, my second baby girl, #girldad. I've also had a business that's been struggling. I have multiple different businesses, and there was one business that I had a business partner with. And unfortunately, now I'm learning all the lessons of like not fucking having a business partner, because sometimes people do shit without you realizing what the fuck they're doing that fucks you over at the end of the day. And there's hard lessons involved with that. And there's different ways I've had to maneuver. I've had to let go of a lot of great people because those people were brought on board incorrectly. They weren't brought on board because of the needs of the business, but instead the needs of somebody who wasn't a good leader, that wasn't good doing things for their people. And they prioritize profits over people. And the biggest thing that I could ever say about situations like that in life or in business is the only thing that you can do is what you can do. The only thing that's possible for you and how to move through that is to take the only next step that you can. And some days, when I think about my life, some of those steps weren't like forward momentum. They weren't creating like solutions. Sometimes the very next step for me was breaking the fuck down. Because what happens is, at least for me, I'm such a high performer. I'm such a positive force. And because I've put so much into my personal development, I've invested over $700,000 into myself. I mean, fuck. Of course, I'd try to be the most positive person I can be so I can move through things. But in turn, what happens is I've rejected myself in many ways that caused me to pent up all of this wrath. And I have it tattooed on my body. I pent up rage, anger, which turns into shame, into guilt, into sadness, into hurt. And I bottle it up for so long that sometimes what I need, which is probably true for you, and the person that says, no, that's for fucking pussies, no, you're the pussy. Because anybody that can't face their emotions is the weakest form of man. And I want you to understand, sometimes for me, forward progression means stopping for a fucking day and feeling whatever the fuck I need to feel. Thinking the thoughts I need to think. Processing through things. I think a lot of the times, people in this world think that emotions, pain is weakness. Pain is the shit that got me to be strong. My weakness are my strengths now. Everything that's ever happened to me has happened for me because now I can serve people. When I was 10 years old and going through a divorce, not me getting divorced, my fucking parents, okay, smartasses. The biggest thing that I had to learn in that moment is how not to shatter or how to put back this broken boy and put him back together. And that lesson that I learned about the broken boy, I teach to people now because when I sense hurt and I sense pain, I realize that a lot of people are just adults that are children that grew into adult bodies. But they're still there. They're still emotionally stuck there. But the lesson of that has allowed me to serve people. So I had to go through that. I had to experience that. I had to go through that pain. When I was 11, 12, 13, started stealing. I had a void I was filling with things. I was like, the only thing that could make me feel anything was doing something wrong. And all of those bad habits, those traits taught me of just what shame can be. What happens when you go down a dark path. I didn't have a father figure around that time. Fuck, I haven't since I was 10. And so I tried to do things, whether it was for attention, whether it's because I was trying to fill a void, whatever the fuck. But now, because of all of those lessons, knowing that that's not how a human should perform, I know what's good and what's good, what's bad, what's right and what's wrong now. Most people still don't to this day. Again, these are things that I had to experience. And unfortunately, even during those times, I got caught. I got put in cuffs. I had family visiting from the Philippines. And on the last day that they were here, they saw me in fucking cuffs. That taught me something very different about the importance of life. Realizing that sometimes hardship shakes us awake. Sometimes hardship is the thing that we need to finally take ourselves and our life seriously. When I was 13 years old, I realized that money was very scarce. It was hard. It was hard to live. It was hard to eat. It was hard to have lunch money. And what I realized about all of that pain was, for some fucking reason, all of that pain, all of the bullshit that I was experiencing during those times got my head thinking about how can I make money? Because nobody's going to hire a fucking 13-year-old. Nobody's going to give me an actual job, so I have to create one. So at 13 years old, I built my first business, and it showed me how resourceful I could be when times are tough, when I need it, when my family needs it, I will provide. That was the lesson I learned at 13 years old. That shit didn't happen to me, that happened for me. It showed me who the fuck I was capable of being. 14 years old, bought my first fucking car, cash. Nobody can say that. Not a lot of people, at least. I haven't heard anybody else say that. And it wasn't to prove anything to anyone. It was to prove to myself that I could if I needed to. But getting through those times, I wasn't like, I'm going to go fucking buy a car. I'm going to go do this. In my mind, it was, I need to get through this. I need to figure it out. I need to set my life's work into figuring this fucking problem out, which was my life. And I went all in. And from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, it was more darkness. I finally achieved something where I was making more money than most people that were adults at just 13, 14 years old. But that was all outside of me. I wasn't healing the things that were broken inside of me. And because of that, I went through depression. I went through sadness. I wanted to take my life. I was done. It was game over for me. I got the money. I got the things. And I was like, I still feel empty inside, so what the fuck's the point of all of this? Those dark times allowed me now to really appreciate the essence of life, to appreciate that life is deeper than what most people realize. People are so caught up in their day-to-day bullshit, they forget the value of life. And those times really allowed me to learn how I value my life. And through all of my content, my hope is, if you're the black sheep in your family and you're going through a dark time, you hear these stories and you realize there's a light for you. There's a light at the end of this tunnel, and it's a dark fucking tunnel, but you just got to keep going. When I went through the Marine Corps, I wanted to die. That's why I chose the infantry. That's why I wanted to become a machine gunner. I wanted to become a machine gunner so that way I can learn how these fucking people were carrying these massive amounts of weight on their back, acting like it didn't fucking mean anything. Like they were carrying feathers. How could people be that strong? I wanted to find that in myself. The infantry meant that if I go to war, then I could die for a good cause. Blessing in disguise, they never let me. I was a top machine gunner. I got people, I got gunners, I got recommendation letters for me to augment, to go somewhere. The bloodlust was so severe, I did anything to try to die. Nobody would let me. And I'm grateful for that. Because if they did, I might not be who I am today. I might not be married to my wife. I may not have my daughters. And it took me a long time to find peace with that because there's a sense of pride and ego in the military. If you don't go on a combat deployment, then you're not shit. And again, I had so many issues with my self-worth, self-value. I was literally a trained killer. But I got to do nothing with it. I didn't get to prove anything to myself. So again, it's another thing in my mind where I wasn't worthy of something. So for my whole fucking life, I've been trying to prove something to myself, that I am worthy of happiness, that I am worthy of joy, that I'm worthy of fucking something. And even wanting to put my life on the line, I couldn't do shit. I literally broke my fucking body to be able to get selected for something. Nothing ever came. So much comes with that. Because then you feel like you've never accomplished the mission. You imagine if you trained for years for the Olympics. You break your body for it, and you never are ever able to actually live out that dream. And that dream for me, just so you understand, was not death. That dream for me was not the killing. That dream for me was doing something honorable. But I had to start switching these definitions in my mind that the work that I'm doing on a daily basis, that's what's honorable. Working on myself on a daily basis, that's what's honorable. Not giving up, that's honorable. That doesn't mean that it's going to be easy times. Through the hardest times, not giving up, continuing to stay committed, that's what's honorable. And it took me a long time, even till now, to figure that out. When we think about getting through the hard times, I don't even think about getting through the hard times. I ask myself, why am I in hard times in the first place? Why am I seeing this as a hard time? Why can't I see this as part of this journey of life? Because if you actually start to ask yourself why you see things from a current lens, from a current perspective, from a current story you're telling yourself, and you're able to dissect the root of it, you're able to dissect why you even feel like that in the first place versus somebody else who's in the same exact position who sees everything from a positive light, that's where the gap is. And if you can solve that, you can solve the inner belief, the story you're telling yourself, and you shift the perspective for something that actually serves you, your entire life will change. But if your mentality is, let me just get through the hard time right now, you're putting a fucking Band-Aid on somebody who's bleeding out. You're bleeding out, and you're trying to fix that with a short-term solution. The only way you're ever going to fully change your fucking life is to commit, is to sit there and to sew yourself the fuck up, even if there's nothing there to numb the pain. Because that's the hardest thing for most people. This is why most people give up. They cannot handle the excruciating pain that they have to endure until they're good to go again. And they freak the fuck out. And they take these temporary steps in the wrong direction just because it feels good. It feels like forward momentum, but the reality is they're just not addressing their problem. So why aren't you? Whenever I'm going through a hard time, I spend even more time in reflection. I spend even more time in prayer. I spend even more time meditating. I spend even more time with my family because I need the support to stay in the fight for as long as I possibly can. Because in this one life I have to live, I do not want to get to the end of my journey with regrets. I want to be at the end of my life knowing I found out who the fuck I was supposed to be. That's why I endure. Because there's so many people in this world who regret so much that they did so little when they could have. And I never want to be in a position where I let things get to me to the point that I didn't get resourceful. I didn't get the help, the support that I could possibly need emotionally, mentally, spiritually to get through the times, to last another day. I'm all in, and you have to be all in. If you want to change your life, the rest of your life, you have to learn how to zoom out, because this week, this year, this decade is a blip of time in comparison to your entire fucking life. But you need to detach from this desire to wanting to achieve the end state right now. You have to choose that self-mastery is the game that you play. That every day that you want to give up, you find a way not to. That you find a way to just go one more day, one more step, one more try. That is how I get through the hard times. It's one step at a fucking time. And there's so many fucking things that you're going to have to do to find that version of you. There's going to be so many days where you're going to want to rip your hair out. You're going to want to give up. It's going to feel like you've given up. You're going to crawl on your hands and fucking knees, praying to God to give you the answer. But it's never given, it's earned. And you have to find a way to stay in the fight long enough to find that answer for yourself. And the only way you're going to win is if you X out all the shit in your life that doesn't serve you and surround yourself with people who think and operate from this place, knowing that there is a fucking massive price you're going to have to pay to live the life that you want. A massive fucking price you're not ready to pay. You're going to have to take out all amounts of debt. You're going to have to sell off your shit. You're going to have to go all the way the fuck in, not knowing that there's a guaranteed outcome. All the way the fuck in to find yourself. You have to be willing to sacrifice all of your comfort to find yourself. And you motherfuckers that don't think that you got to pay that price because you're some special fuck, good. You're going to be that special fuck at the end of your life that regrets that you said you were somebody that you weren't. Because your actions didn't follow the words, the pretty words that you tell yourself every fucking day just to feel like the man versus actually being it. To get through these times, guys, you have to understand it's one day at a time. It's learning to understand the gaps in your operating system, your mindset, your emotions, your spiritual awareness, your family, your support systems, how much you're learning on a daily basis to critically think, to battle plan, to do whatever needs to be done, to get through your own ways, your ego, your pride, all of the things where you're worried about fucking judgment. It all has to be released. Because that version of you, when you close your eyes and you can just imagine the most sage version of you, the one that's already won all of these fucking battles, they're not worried about the shit you're worried about. They have no time, energy, space for the shit that you choose to worry about. They're worried about bigger and badder fucking things. So the question you got to ask yourself is, how do you remove yourself from the present that's too weak to move through these things? And how do you operate from the place of the future self, the self that actually serves you, the self that has gone through all of these trials and won? Every single day I tell my clients, I don't operate from my current reality. I operate from my future self. I operate from the version of me that all of the shit that I ever have to experience from the past, in the present, even in the future, that future self dealt with it, succeeded. It's done. And what that allows me to do is have a level of emotional control, mental control, spiritual control. That stronger version of me is the one that I need to listen to, not this. Even if this vessel that I have right now is strong enough to get through the times, I still don't operate from this place. Because this version of me is limited to my current experience. But that motherfucker over there, that's wisdom. There are so many different ways to change your entire operating system. That's why if your business is failing, it's not your business, it's you, motherfucker. If your marriage is failing, it's not your marriage, it's not your wife, it's you, motherfucker. If you don't have a good relationship with your kids, if your money's not right, it's not your kids, it's not your money, it's not all of these things outside of you, it is you, motherfucker. That's what you got to understand. And the faster you realize that, the faster you can make a change. And that's the hardest fucking path. Most people don't want to take that level of accountability and ownership. that their life is a fucking shit show because of their own actions or inaction. They choose to be a victim. They choose to play small. They choose to be mediocre. When motherfucker, the world is asking for your greatness. The world is asking you to step the fuck up into yourself, but you're being too pussy about it right now. You'd rather believe all the lies and the limitations of the mind than believing in yourself, going all in on yourself, learning how to be the best version of you. That's the hard fucking thing. It's just like looking the best. Going to the gym, committing to the life, waking up early, going to the gym when you don't want to, having your nutrition on lock. That's the shit that nobody wants to do. But the ones who win, they're the ones that earn it. They dedicate themselves to the life. It's a lifelong mission. And as long as you don't give up, it doesn't fucking matter if you accomplish the goal in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year. In your mind, it won't fucking matter because you just decided. It's done. However long it takes is however long it fucking takes. If I say I'm going to be successful, God knows when the fuck that is, but it will be done. I've said it, so it will happen. If you seek on a daily basis to just prove to yourself who the fuck you are and truly and genuinely mean it when you say it, you will find yourself. And through that process of finding self, that's where everything that you've ever wanted actualizes. Because that version of you is the person that easily and effortlessly gets all of it. Do you understand now? It starts with self. And by focusing on the self, fixing the self, making the self even stronger, you will create all of the outcomes because you're stronger now. You're smarter now. You're more wise now. But if you kept looking outside of you, I want success out here, and you forget the work that you have to do in here, all of those fucking e-brakes that you've been pulling up each and every step of the way, motherfucker, if you don't let those e-brakes down, you're going to be at a halt very soon. And then everything's going to burn around you. But if you learn this lesson that I'm trying to gift to you from the lessons I've learned in life, in business, your life can change today. You can choose to be a totally different person today, right now. Or you can choose that, no, Phil, that's not possible. I'm going to logically override and say that, nope, I cannot be a very different person just because you said I could. Or just because I tell myself I can. There's no way, Phil. If you say it, it will be. If you believe it, it will be. And that could be something negative, or that can be something that fucking serves you. So you can either tell yourself you can't, or you tell yourself you can. It takes the same amount of energy to do both. Who the fuck are you? Which one are you? Who are you choosing to be? That is how you get through the times. That is how you not give up. You look inward more. You seek the answer within yourself more. It's not outside of you, motherfuckers. It's inside of you. You just got to learn how to dig. You got to learn how to look inward. And you got to learn how to trust yourself, because even if you did look inward and you found the answer, if you don't have that trust that you're making the right call, that's why your confidence shatters. In order to get through these hard times, guys, because only more hard times will come. In your life, you will go through more hardship. In your business, you will go through more hardship. In your marriage, you will go through the trials. And you have to be ready. Who you are as a person, you have to be ready. That's why this entire game is about building who the fuck you are, so you can create who you were meant to be. But if you break, it all breaks. If you break, your business breaks. If you break, your marriage breaks. If you break, your kids will not have a father. If you break, all hell breaks loose because you couldn't handle it anymore. So you got to realize this is why you have to fortify yourself. You have to surround yourself with savages who think at a very different fucking level, that believe in you more than you believe in yourself right now. And I'm telling you right now, the reason why I make this type of content is because I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Believe that. I don't give a fuck where you're from. I don't give a fuck what you've done. If you're on this path to become the best version of you for your bloodline, for your family, for you, so you don't fucking embrace the darkness like I did, I believe you can do this. I believe you will get through the hard times. How fast or how slow is up to you. How much you're willing to commit to change is up to you. When people say you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't force him to drink, this is the time. I'm showing you the path. I'm telling you exactly what needs to be done. You just need to go out and execute. Every single day, if you're focused on why am I not executing? Why am I not moving forward in my life? And you spend more time reflecting on that, you will find the answer, the very thing that's holding you back. And the moment you uncover that weakness in you is the moment you can change it. Stop trying to find an external answer. Start spending more time with yourself. This is what self-mastery is all about. It's about finding self, the true self, understanding the failure points in self, and fortifying those pieces of you. Put yourself back together the way that you would feel proud to wake up to every single day. When I wake up as myself every morning, I am proud, knowing that I did my fucking hardest yesterday and I'm going to do it again today, even better this time. To get through the hard times, all you need to do is look inside of you and be okay with whatever comes up. Take that next step, do it again tomorrow, and again, and again, and again. And if you need a soundboard of somebody who understands what the fuck you're trying to get done, you stay plugged into this content. You stay plugged into what the fuck I'm talking about on a daily basis until you reprogram your fucking mind to genuinely believe it. Because once you believe you, motherfucker, just understand your entire world changes. The world that you once knew is gone. And you can start creating the life of your fucking dreams. It all starts with the mind. The moment you think it, whether it's good, whether it's bad, you start creating that into your reality. So you got to ask yourself, what are the thoughts that serve you and what don't? Focus more on the ones that do, and your entire world will change. If you don't believe me now, write it down. Be very intentional, and over the course of the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, just see how your life changes. And you let me know in the comments. You let me know in feedback how your life has changed just from simply changing your thoughts and your beliefs. Stay savage.